15 years ago, I discovered a devastating secret. My best friend was pregnant by my boyfriend. Betrayed by both, and my family knew about it but didn't tell me, I felt like my parents chose them over me, so I fled from home. Now, after years of silence, my mother demands I reconcile with them. Allow me to take you on a journey that spans over a decade and has had a profound impact on the trajectory of my life. Indulge me, if you will. It all began when I was 18, a senior in high school, and everything seemed to be falling into place. I lived with my parents and 4 siblings, and my days were filled with the company of my closest friend, Hannah, and my partner of 3 years, Alvin. Our families were so close-knit that we practically grew up together, celebrating holidays, birthdays, and sharing everyday moments in our small town. Hannah has been my confidant for as long as I can remember, the person I trust with my deepest secrets. Our parents even joked that we were inseparable, given the amount of time we spent together. And for 3 years, Alvin and I shared a romantic connection that felt like it would last a lifetime. With unwavering certainty, I believed him to be the missing piece to my soul, the one destined to accompany me on the sacred journey down the aisle. Our connection was profound, our commitment unwavering, and we even dared to dream of a future intertwined in matrimony once he triumphantly conquered the realm of academia as a sophomore in college. Although I had dreams of attending university, I also found solace in the idea of becoming Alvin's devoted wife and a stay-at-home mother. My parents wholeheartedly embraced Alvin and our relationship, which brought me genuine contentment. It's important to note that my sister was romantically involved with Alvin's brother, creating a close bond between our families. However, as the school year commenced, I couldn't help but notice Hannah's somber demeanor and distant behavior. Sensing her distress, I gently probed, and she eventually confided in me about her unexpected pregnancy. I was completely caught off guard, unaware of her involvement with anyone after her previous breakup. Curiosity led me to inquire about the father, but she skillfully evaded the question, alluding to the possibility of it being her ex. Witnessing her anguish, I decided to avoid pressing the matter further and instead focused on providing comfort and support. I stood by her side as she revealed the news to her family, and although her parents were disappointed, they reassured her of their unwavering support, regardless of her decision. Attempts were made to coerce her into adopting her father's surname, but she adamantly refused, perhaps even making a vow of silence. Little did they know that she had once been in a relationship with a significant other. During her time at school, she faced relentless bullying due to her pregnancy, and I stood by her side as a pillar of support. Together, we prepared the nursery, attended doctor's appointments, and weathered the storms of sickness and emotional distress. In celebration of her impending motherhood, I organized a joyous baby shower and accompanied her on shopping trips, even joining her in parenting classes. We collaborated on selecting names for the baby, and she graciously requested my presence in the delivery room. It became apparent that the weight of the pregnancy was taking a toll on her, both mentally and physically, and I made it my mission to provide unwavering support in any way I could. She was not just a dear friend, but my closest confidant, always there for me, and I cherished her deeply. A fortnight prior to her anticipated delivery, I ventured to the bustling mall to attend to various errands and unexpectedly crossed paths with her former flame. Despite my solemn vow to refrain from any form of communication, the awareness of my dear friend's fragile emotional condition ignited a fiery rage within me, compelling me to boldly confront him head-on. In a fit of anger, I unleashed my thoughts upon him, berating him for abandoning his pregnant ex and showing no concern for their unborn child. To my surprise, he appeared genuinely shocked, and claimed to have no knowledge of what I was referring to. According to him, Hannah never disclosed her pregnancy, and he insisted that he couldn't be the father since they had broken up over a year ago, and he hadn't been involved with anyone since then. This revelation left me bewildered, and I quickly apologized for my outburst in the bustling mall. However, instead of diffusing the tension, his demeanor turned snide, and he made some spiteful remarks, insinuating that perhaps I should inquire with Hannah's friend, Alvin, about the paternity. At the time, I didn't give much thought to his words, as Alvin and Hannah had been lifelong friends. Due to our parents' close bond, my younger sister and I shared a strong connection, even though there was never a hint of anything beyond friendship between them. As the sun began to set, we eagerly readied ourselves for a delightful evening of movies and laughter. I unleashed a tirade upon my sister, pouring out my frustrations about confronting Hannah's ex and the hurtful words he had spoken. Normally outspoken, my sister fell silent, offering no response to my words. Eventually, she excused herself and quietly slipped away to the bathroom. In that moment, I decided to seek solace in snacks and made my way downstairs to the kitchen. However, as I entered the kitchen, my ears were met with the sound of my younger sister berating our mother. Emotions were running high, and my memory of this particular moment is a bit hazy. It was then that my sister revealed to our mother, in no uncertain terms, that Alvin was indeed the father of Hannah's child, a truth she could no longer keep hidden from me. The shock of this revelation hit me like a ton of bricks. Stumbling into the kitchen, I demanded an explanation, causing both my mother and sister to pale in response. Overwhelmed, my sister burst into tears, her anguish pouring forth uncontrollably. In a hushed conversation, my sister imparted some valuable information to me. It was only later, through the grapevine of gossip, that I discovered the intriguing tale of Alvin and Hannah. As the summer break drew to a close, fate brought them together at a raucous house party. In the midst of laughter and libations, their inhibitions faded away, and they surrendered to the intoxicating allure of each other's company, sharing a passionate night of intimacy. It was a clandestine secret that Hannah and Alvin carried, burdened by shame and fear of my reaction. They couldn't bear to disclose the news to me or their own parents. However, Hannah's resolve weakened, and she confided in her mom and dad, who in turn shared the revelation with Alvin's parents and eventually with mine. This revelation unfolded during Hannah's initial trimester. By the time her second trimester arrived, the news had spread like wildfire among our siblings, Alvin's siblings, and Hannah's siblings. Everyone seemed to know, except for me. The emotions that flooded my being are indescribable. I was overcome with physical illness for the following 3 days, rendering me speechless and unable to engage with anyone. My parents, though apologetic, explained that their intention was to shield me from pain and preserve the harmony of our relationships. I chose not to communicate with Alvin or Hannah. Despite their relentless barrage of messages and calls, even their desperate visits to my home, I steadfastly refused to see them. At one point, Alvin's mother paid an unexpected visit to our house, and against my wishes, my mother permitted her entry into my sanctuary. Lying in my bed, weakened by illness and overwhelmed by the pain of betrayal, she pleaded with me to forgive them, emphasizing how Hannah and the baby needed my presence. I remained silent, unable to find the words to express my anguish. 2 weeks elapsed, and Hannah went into labor. My parents informed me that her delivery had been arduous, marked by excessive blood loss and the urgent need for a C-section. Alvin, it seems, was present during the birth. I was devastated, consumed by a sense of betrayal from both of them. I had planned to be there, both physically and emotionally, but circumstances prevented me from doing so. This was a moment I had eagerly anticipated for months, and now it was slipping away. My older sister rushed to the hospital to support her boyfriend, leaving me alone with my parents. All I desired was to retreat to the solace of my bed, to nestle in my mother's comforting embrace, and release my pent-up emotions through tears. In the midst of my despair, my mother received a phone call from Hannah's mother. In a surprising turn of events, she entered my sanctuary and delivered the news that both she and Dad were heading to the hospital. I was taken aback, my mind swirling with confusion, and I pleaded for her to stay by my side. However, she insisted that Hannah's parents required an abundance of support and assured me that they would address everything at a later time. Desperate to make her understand that I, too, needed their unwavering presence, I implored her not to go. Yet, she dismissed my pleas as selfishness and departed. Left alone within the confines of our home, I struggled to comprehend the whirlwind of events that had unfolded in recent weeks. The realization that my parents would offer solace to someone who had inflicted such immense pain upon me while I remained here suffering was simply unfathomable. Was it truly selfish of me to harbor such thoughts? Uncertainty gnawed at my core as my sadness morphed into an unprecedented rage. In the midst of this tumultuous blend of emotions and a profound sense of betrayal, I found myself feverishly packing my belongings, resolute in my decision to abandon the place I once called home. In no time at all, doubts began to creep in, leaving me sitting in the living room with a hollow sense of emptiness. Eventually, my sister's text arrived, breaking the silence. According to the message, Hannah successfully gave birth to a healthy baby girl, and both mother and child were in good condition. Along with the joyful news, she shared a photo of the newborn and informed me that they had named her Sarah, a name that Hannah and I had chosen together months ago. Later on, Hannah sent another message, revealing that my parents and she would be joining Carl's parents in a local bar to celebrate the occasion. From that point on, my recollection becomes hazy, as I was overwhelmed by everything that had transpired. Driven by a clouded mind, I made the decision to leave. Boarding a train, I departed for Queen, where I sought refuge in a hostel. In order to sustain myself, I secured employment at a store, while also making plans to complete my high school education in this new location. Throughout this time, my parents, siblings, Alvin, and Hannah attempted to reach out to me. My mother left frantic voicemails pleading for my return. Additionally, they reported me as a missing person, although I doubt any significant progress was made, considering I had reached the age of 18. Shortly thereafter, destiny intervened, and I crossed paths with none other than Daryl. Residing in the same majestic realm of Queen, he too carried the weight of a complex familial bond. Our connection was instantaneous, and we quickly formed a deep bond of friendship. During that time, I was facing numerous challenges and felt utterly lost in the realm of adulthood. I had no clue how to take care of myself or navigate life's complexities. Thankfully, he entered my life as a guiding light. He not only offered invaluable assistance, but also introduced me to his remarkable circle of friends. With his unwavering support, I managed to complete high school and even found a place to call home among him and his companions. In moments of despair and regret, he stood by my side, providing solace and helping me heal. There was a time when I was truly struggling, and the idea of seeking therapy seemed like an unattainable dream due to financial constraints. However, he filled that void, becoming my pillar of strength and understanding. Without his presence, I doubt I would have persevered for long. As the months passed, our relationship evolved, and after a year, we decided to embark on a romantic journey together. Serendipitously, he inherited a substantial sum from his late grandfather and made the bold decision to relocate to the bustling metropolis across the country. Despite our relatively short time together, he extended an invitation for me to join him on this grand adventure. Despite my reservations, I mustered up the courage to embark on this journey with him, even though we both carried the weight of our emotional histories. My own insecurities still lingered, but I took the leap nonetheless. Together, we ventured into the unknown, forging a new path, seeking employment, and navigating the challenges that came our way, all in the pursuit of survival. I casually mentioned that relationships evolve and life circumstances can lead us down different paths. Despite this, we maintained sporadic communication for nearly a year. In her email this past January, she revealed the profound impact the pandemic had on her family. My parents were struggling to hold on to their home, while both of my brothers faced unemployment and financial hardships. I was taken aback by her awareness of these challenges, considering she was only 14 years old. The strain caused by these difficulties was also putting a strain on her parents' relationship. Overwhelmed with guilt and regret, I found myself grappling with a whirlwind of emotions, especially since I had recently given birth to my own child. Seeking guidance, I confided in my husband, who offered unwavering support and assured me that he would stand by me no matter what decision I made. Thankfully, our financial stability remained intact throughout the pandemic, sparing us from additional worries. Although our wealth may not be abundant, we are fortunate enough to enjoy a comfortable lifestyle. Upon acquiring additional information and engaging in a conversation with Daryl, we made the decision to extend our assistance towards my parents and their abode. Although I am confident in my convictions and believe that prioritizing my well-being and the happiness of my supportive husband is the right choice, I find myself wrestling with some doubts. Should I heed my mother's advice and reach out to Hannah and Alvin? Perhaps I overreacted 15 years ago and now question if I am being selfish by not actively seeking to mend the relationship. Any guidance or perspective on this matter would be greatly appreciated. Suddenly, my entire life's trajectory feels uncertain, and I am overwhelmed with a sense of confusion. In my state of despair, I sought solace in the company of my other friends. Now, I don't know if this is a jump-in statement, but in my opinion, in this particular story, you go no contact with them once again. They haven't changed. They're still not prioritizing you. They still don't care about your feelings in this matter. They want to go back to normal. Just looking at them is a reminder of the betrayal that you faced all those years ago. You're never going to be able to look at those people in the same way again. Wow, whenever I look at stories like this and you face betrayal of cheating and stuff, you're never going to be able to look at that person the same way again. From my perspective anyway. And it's not just a betrayal from them as well. It's from your whole family. People claiming that they're trying to save you from pain and all this sort of stuff. No, they wasn't. And the one time you were asking for some support, they just abandoned you and then went out celebrating afterwards. Cheeky bastards, Jane said angrily. Riri said the same things. Your mother hasn't changed. Her priority is still her friends and their children. It certainly isn't you. She showed that at the time, and she showed it again now. She doesn't respect you or your boundaries. She certainly feels no regret. Cut ties. Speak to your niece if you want, but no one else. Your mother will never change. You are the victim in all of this, and they are too self-absorbed and selfish to see it. Your family is toxic. Honestly, just run. Your mother doesn't value you. They showed no regard for your emotional well-being or mental health. Only your younger sister showed a little. I mean, they even went to the hospital and then out to celebrate the baby's birth. It's like your pain was nothing. They have all betrayed you so very much. You deserve better. Keep your chin high and walk away," Harry said. "Isn't it funny how they keep calling you selfish because they feel comfort in having things be not awkward with their friends is way more important than you, your trust, your betrayal, and even their relationship with you. They keep using that word. I don't think it means what they think it means." I made the difficult decision not to attend my niece's birthday party as I felt it would be too emotionally challenging for me. Now, on to my parents. This particular situation brings up painful memories, as it felt like I was reliving all the negative emotions I experienced at 18. My mother persisted in pestering me about not speaking to Alvin and Hannah. Her relentless calls continued for months, even after I returned home. It felt like emotional manipulation, as she blamed me for not fulfilling her desires regarding her friendships and health issues. She even went as far as accusing me of keeping her grandchildren away from her. Last June, when I had my daughter, it seemed to push her completely over the edge. I began receiving over 100 calls a day, messages every 20 minutes about trivial matters, and updates about people I had no interest in knowing about. Upon her incessant badgering of Daryl, I reached my limit. Instead of blocking her, I confided in my father. It marked possibly the first sincere heart-to-heart we'd had in 17 years. Emotionally exhausted and worn down from tending to 3 children, I felt utterly drained. I likely laid bare all my emotions to him. Their fate afterward remains unknown. He doesn't elaborate. Her calls gradually dwindled, and something must have occurred because come August, he initiated divorce proceedings. I haven't opened it yet, and honestly, I'm torn about whether I should. Part of me feels like I've left that chapter behind, but another part is itching to know what she has to say after all this time. Still, delving into it could stir up some old wounds. Right now, I'm managing well with my kids and Daryl, who's been incredibly supportive through it all. My main focus is on my family, and I sincerely hope to put this all in the past. I haven't opened it yet, and honestly, I'm torn about whether I should. Part of me feels like I've left that chapter behind, but another part is itching to know what she has to say after all this time. Still, delving into it could stir up some old wounds. Right now, I'm managing well with my kids and Daryl, who's been incredibly supportive through it all. My main focus is on my family, and I sincerely hope to put this all in the past.